Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sydney's Spin Big Ten edition, where we had the opening weekend of Big Ten play. Now, let me give you a few highlights before we hop into this week's special guest. And four teams walked away this weekend undefeated. Now, let's start with Nebraska, who was 2-0 after battling Illinois and the cold weather. That's what eventually canceled Sunday's game. But nonetheless, Nebraska, it was a showdown in game one. They end up winning in extra innings, and then they brought the bats in game two. But Billy Andrews clinched Nebraska's all-time home run record, and she was given the record-breaking home run ball in the snow with her team. A very iconic moment for Billy Andrews. And then Michigan, they are currently playing game three right now against Purdue since we are pre-recording this on Monday. But so far, they have beat Purdue twice. They run-ruled them in game two, 11-3. And then two teams so far who walked away with brooms in their hand is Penn State and Northwestern. Now let's talk about Penn State. They now advance to a 23-6 record. Now, one of their best records since 8 years, and the first time they have started off in the Big Ten 3-0 since 2016. Now, some of the reason why, well, freshman pitcher Bridget Nemeth, she is now 13-0 in her unreal freshman campaign. And as a team, they hit 360 on the weekend. Now, keep in mind, this is against a very talented Indiana team who has pitchers like Brianna Copeland, who coming into this weekend had a sub-2 ERA. Now that has gone up a bit. But Penn State, they came out and made a statement early. Now, the other team to walk away 3-0 is Northwestern, where I had the opportunity to be on their broadcast. And let me tell you, this did not disappoint. The Wildcats always talk about how much they love playing at home. Well, they showed up and showed out with the sweep against Michigan State. And now let me tell you some of their numbers. Ashley Miller, who we had on last week, she already had a 0.93 ERA, something that's very hard to get better than that. Well, she did that after day one on Friday. She had 7 complete innings. She had 9 strikeouts, only gave up 1 run. And then on Sunday, she pitched game 3 of this series, 7 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, and no runs give up. Her ERA now at 0.83. Absolutely ridiculous. There was 8 home runs in 3 games. We're going to talk to Candace Robertson, who had 3 of the 8 home runs for Northwestern. And she had an unbelievable weekend. She went 6 for 6 with 3 home runs and 3 walks. Kansas, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy.
You are so welcome. Well, I think there was a little bit of a delay on our end. But anyways, this weekend, I was there. I got to see your ridiculous hitting in person. Talk to me about how confident were you feeling in the box? Because the ball had to look like a beach ball with how you were swinging at it.
Yeah. I don't know. I always preach about having confidence at the plate, and I really felt that this weekend. I felt really calm. It was really nice to be at home and on our field, and then of course Big Ten play is always exciting. And yeah, it really showed this weekend, and it was a lot of fun playing with my team on the field at home.
I was able to see the celebrations from the broadcast, but tell me about as a player. 8 home runs, 3 games. There was a ton of celebrating going on. What was it like to be in the dugout?
It's an amazing atmosphere. I mean, we have the best fans, of course, surrounding us, which just hypes us up even more. And then each of us are just so excited for each other. I mean, success from a teammate feels just as good as if you were successful as yourself. It's amazing, and we're all really proud of each other. And we'll always cheer for each other.
You talk about the fans.
Mm-hmm.
This program is one that preaches playing on their home field that they refer to as the J. How special was it taking the field now, your sophomore season, your second time in Big Ten play?
It's amazing. I mean, the fans are literally, they're part of our team. They make such the difference at the J. They bring the energy every single time. They never disappoint. And they keep us going throughout the game. And they're a big part of why we are so successful there.
Talk about success. Your team is now 29-0 at home. That is the longest current active streak right now in Division I softball. How much do you guys embrace that? You talk about looking forward to it. Are you playing for the fans? Are they giving you momentum?
I think they give so much momentum to our team. We take a lot of pride in playing at home, um, and it shows with the with the record going. It's just an amazing atmosphere. It's hard not to love and want to do your best when you're there. I mean, we have so much support throughout the Evanston community, through all of our fans and parents and everyone coming, and we love playing at home.
Why do you think the community loves coming out to watch this team year after year?
Um, I would say we're a lot of fun to watch. We love each other. We have a lot of fun on the field. We are authentically ourselves, and we love bringing them in. Like I said, it's just one big family, and I think it's very noticeable to everybody who watches. And it's fun to watch, and it's fun to be on the field with everyone.
So, as we're talking about this stadium that you guys are playing in, we have to talk about the upcoming announcement that was recently released by Northwestern. 2026, the new stadium will be done.
Yeah.
What were your feelings hearing it?
I am so excited. I mean, I just think like Kane Carroll have been here forever. They're so deserving of that field. All the alums, just it's time. It's time. It's past due. I am so excited and I'm so grateful I'll be able to play on it. And yeah, I am really, really excited for what's to come.
You will end your career there. You know, if it's 4 years straight, that is where you will finish. Kind of what will it mean to you to really not only finish at one of the most prestigious now new stadiums, but also to know that you've stepped foot in something that is going to be kind of building the future towards Northwestern softball, college softball in general, but also women's sports, just having an investment of how many millions towards that stadium.
It's really amazing. It's a great feeling. Just to even like have the opportunity. Like these are little girls' dreams that they have when they're younger. Yeah, it's surreal. It's an amazing feeling. I'm so excited and grateful for the opportunity to even get to experience that. And yeah, it's great. It's great.
I think there's one important thing to note on the stadium after talking to Kate Johan this past weekend is that the fundraising is still ongoing. There are
Hmm.
still components to this season. I'm sure you've seen more detailed plans than the public has been allowed to see just yet because their plans are great, but they're hoping that even with additional funding, they can make the plans even greater.
Yeah. Yeah, fundraising is still going on. We just really want to make the stadium a Northwestern stadium, the Northwestern Cats Stadium. We want it to scream our vibe, and with more fundraising, we really hope to bring that into the field in the stadium.
It is so clear when you talk about the stadium, the fans' impact. And I think one of the neatest things about Coach Drohan's plans is to keep the new stadium, even though it's going to be a lot, bigger to some respect, very
Hmm.
intimate in terms of the crowd to player, access. Are you so grateful that it's going to stay the same in that way?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, we've already talked about how impactful the fans are, and I think making the stadium so that we're still really close with the fans and that they also have a really good time there just as much and they have just as much fun as we do. It's really important, and I think it's really great to have at the stadium.
It's no secret that Big Ten play can be a bit chilly. And I know that this new stadium plans to be a 365 day of the year stadium that you can use it, in winter when you're not playing, but also too, I think it's going to help keep a lot of people warm and more protected for some of those colder games. This past weekend at Evanston, it was probably, teetering the line 34, 35.
Yeah.
So for everyone, it's just going to keep it so much greater, more protected. But two, as players, this is a stadium and a facility you guys will be able to benefit from throughout the entire year.
Oh my gosh, yes. I am so excited. I mean, yeah, we deal with the some tough weather. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're used to it, and then with the facility as well, it'll make it just a little more comfortable for everyone, the fans, including the team as well, which will also be really great and helpful for us playing. So yeah.
I want to break down this weekend because, like I mentioned before, silly numbers from you, video game numbers, but also, too, you have a little bit of a roommate duo right now that you said there must be something in the air. And I think it has to be true because between yourself, Kansas Robinson, and Kelsey Nader, you guys combined it with 6 of the 8 home runs. I mean, did you guys laugh about it when you came home after the series?
I mean, it's just like funny. It's like we just look at each other and it's like, you did really good this weekend, and it's like you did really good too. Yeah, no, I mean, we're 1 and 2 in the lineup. I think we feed really well off each other. And Kelsey always preaches, and so does Kate and Carol. I mean, the whole team in general, just being good to the game. And the game will be good to you. And I think that showed this weekend a lot in many ways.
Being good to the game and the game will be good to you. I think that very much embodies the journey that this team this year has been on. Take me back to the first 2 weekends. Things were a little bit tougher, a slower start than I'm sure you all wanted. But what was the message that was being said that, hey, brighter days are ahead, or we just need to clean up some areas?
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, we had some tough games, some really close games. We competed really well, but we're just struggling with finishing out games and yeah, just kicking it into another gear when we needed to, those timely hits. I think it was just keeping our confidence and keeping our work ethic up in between the time and when we were just missing those close games. So I think just preaching about being really intentful with our work, really focus on what we need to do next and not dwelling on the past at all. Being really excited about the little successes that we had and acknowledging the progress that we did make during that time and the successes that we did have, and just continuing to use those to fuel us for this past weekend and for the upcoming games that we have. I think that was a big part, just acknowledging our successes, being grateful for them, learning from the mistakes or anything that we lacked. Yeah, and I think that's really helped us to get to this point where we are in the season. Yeah, and it's been really great. It's been a fun progression so far.
Do you feel like this weekend and the success that they have, it feels even sweeter per se because of those hardships that you guys went through in the first few weekends?
Oh my gosh, yes, for sure. I think also it just really brought us closer together. I mean, going through those tough moments where you're down by one or just the close games, they bring you together. Our friendships have just been getting greater and greater. Um, Yeah, and I think this weekend it really showed. I mean, we were all playing for each other. We were so excited for each other. And it's just something that I'm so excited to continue building throughout the season.
And speaking of friendships, it was a perfect opportunity. You guys were recently on spring break. You played a ton of games, 4 in South Carolina. You had 2 kind of Chicago rivalry games during the week and then a 3-game Big Ten series. But on top of that, you're spending so much time with one another as teammates. Were there any fun things you guys did to build that chemistry you're touching upon?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny you ask. This past week we had a long debate. So we had many dinners and like lunches together. So we've had a lot of free time on our hands. And one of our debates were who would win the Hunger Games.
I love
So
it.
we listed out every player like top to bottom. We did another list for like all the staff as well. It was an intense conversation, but it was a lot of fun.
So I need to know who were some of the people that were towards the top of the list that you guys were saying would win, right? Would win the Hunger Games? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay, so we said Ayanna Lindsay would win the Hunger Games. Lauren Boyd was up there as well. Ashley Miller. Those were our top three, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. I
Ayanna
feel
won
like
it all.
there's a little bit of a love for pitchers there. Obviously, Ayana center field. If anyone's watched her play, she doesn't get faced by literally anything. Like it continues to blow my mind. I think she could like get drilled wherever and a hitter and never always seems to have a poker face.
Oh my gosh, she's not phased. Ayana is so tough, and she is the best teammate. we always talk about like TPOD, so like team player of the day, and she is the TPOD every day. So that's Ayana, and yeah, that's why she won the Hunger Games.
Talking about Ayana, you touched on her as a teammate. Well, also Ayana Lindsay, after kind of paying her dues for some respect for 2 years, having opportunities to hit, but also mainly being pinch runner, now gets her year to start and has absolutely made the most out of it. Looking at this past weekend, her best weekend hitting, but also you've seen Sports Center top 10 plays from her in center field earlier this year as well.
Oh my gosh, yes. She has been doing her thing. I am so proud of her. Yeah, she's been doing great. I mean, it's her time to shine and she's doing it. So I'm really proud of her.
I think what's insane when you look at, your team specifically and yourself is that you have a lot of players who are leading as only sophomores. Your class, you came in with 3 players. And again, we go back to the home runs. 7 out of the 8 home runs were by your sophomore class. Yourself, Kelsey Nader, your roommate, also Bridget Donahue, who I know you have a close relationship. Talk about that relationship between the of you and how it also pays off being a second base shortstop matchup.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, yes, me and Bridget are really close. Also Kelsey as well. I mean, we're all like the trio. It's a lot of fun and it makes the game a lot more fun and seamless. I guess it's you're so comfortable with the person next to you and behind you. It makes playing a lot more fun and there's not a lot of stress behind it because you have people that have your back behind you, which is really great.
You're wearing a Big Ten championship hat.
Yeah.
Proudly wearing it from last season.
I love
This
this hat.
it's a great hat. I have to say, mine's hanging. Anyways, when you look at this team and what you guys did in week 1, what are your goals for this season? To get another hat, how do you guys get there?
I think just keeping scrappy, keep feeding each other the ball. I mean, our pitchers are doing great. Our defense has been making crazy plays in the field. Just keeping that up and passing the bat, I think, is really key.
There is no secret that it almost feels like the conference has a lot of question marks, more so than in previous years. Kind of what teams have you seen really rise to the occasion either this past weekend, but also too in pre-conference play that you're like, wow, they're going to be a great matchup when you play them or you don't play them?
Yeah, I think looking at this past weekend, I thought Penn State did really well. Obviously, I wasn't able to watch the games live, but looking at it after, I thought they did really well. I'm excited to play them this year. And then in preseason, Wisconsin, IU. I mean, the Big Ten had some really big wins in preseason, which was really exciting to watch. So yeah, I'm excited for these upcoming games. I'm ready to compete and have some fun in the Big Ten.
Does it kind of excite you to the parody that's been talked about in the conference?
Yeah, I am so excited. I think just having good competition, competing, having a lot of fun with these teams, like it is amazing. Like we want to play the best, so and that's what we're getting.
The biggest thing when I think about you as a player is just a natural competitor. It's something that's been used to talk about you all the time when describing how you play on and off the field. Where does that competition, that fire come from?
I mean, I've been playing sports since I was 8. I started in soccer, and then I went to softball, and then through middle school basketball. So I've always been playing sports. But honestly, I would have to say my dad since I was younger. I mean, he is a competitor. So just
I love it.
watching him and having him as a coach has really instilled that in me. I hate to lose. I think that shows. And yeah, I just think being around sports, my family, my dad specifically, always pushing me has um, put that put that dog in me.
For those of you people who haven't been to a Northwestern softball game, your dad in particular is the person you can hear throughout the entire game, giving his encouragement, his support, and his love for the entire team. And most of the time, he has no voice by day 2 even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me, what are some of the conversations like when you come off the field with both of you being such competitors?
Yeah, so usually it starts off he's a really proud dad. And he tells me all the time. He's always hyping me up, and then usually by the end of the call it'll be like, "Okay, so what are you doing tomorrow?" He's like, what's next? You're gonna get your hitting in? And I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get my hitting in. But yeah, he's always keeping me on my toes. He's my biggest supporter. He is a NUSB super fan. He has a cheer for everyone in the lineup when they go up.
I
Personalized.
don't know when he has the time to make 'em. It must be in the car rides or on the plane.
It just yeah, it has to be. I don't know. It builds a long season. But I mean, he's always been like that. Like even with my travel teams, he had like individual handshakes with every single girl. So he buys into the team just as much as I do.
That is amazing. When I think about the player you were last season as a first year player, you had a lot of opportunities in big moments. Northwestern went all the way to super regionals at Alabama. How much do you feel like your experiences from the first year have really set you up for this season? And also, what was your greatest lesson from it?
I think last season I dealt with a lot of adversity as well. I mean, I was fighting for a spot at the beginning, and that really helped with me staying competitive throughout the games. And also, I just had an amazing group of girls ahead of me. I mean, all the experience that you and all the other individuals
Love
had,
you.
I, I think just really, I think it set me up for success. During the season. And then also now, I think just the confidence that I had, that I gained from last year, has really spilled over into this year. I think the biggest thing that I learned was to look at the bigger picture sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, for example, if I had a bad game or there was just one at bat that I didn't do so well in, just look at the bigger picture, say we got the win or I had a good hit the time before. It's just like some things aren't as big as you make them.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I realized.
Last season graduated a lot of seniors, I know myself included, but the role that your class played was so tremendous, but you guys were going to have to be put in different position this year as leaders. How have you found your voice being a leader on this team?
Yeah, I think it took some time at the start.
Mhm.
I mean, we have like almost a brand new bunch of girls, which is amazing. I'm so grateful to be surrounded by all of them. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a transition, but I think the biggest thing was just building relationships, and as those relationships were being created and we got to know each other better, it's been pretty easy so far.
With new faces, most of the time becomes like a new identity for a team. And that's what is so fun about when there is, turnover, is rediscovering that identity. What would you say is the DNA? What is this team really like?
I mean, we're just a lot of fun, I guess. I don't know. I wish you could see like behind the scenes each of us individually, but we're just a very authentic group. We have so many different personalities, and they're all very much accepted and embraced. Yeah, we're a lot of fun. We love each other, and I mean, it's something that you see throughout all the teams here. I mean, it's just in USB culture. Like we love each other. We're good to the game. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing that we preach, and I think that we embrace that. And also combining that with our individual like personalities, it makes us really unique.
Where is that culture really being instilled?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Like, is it no, 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 you're good. Would you say, like, it's the coaching staff, it's the upperclassmen, it's the how is that culture so strong year after year?
I would say, I mean, the coaching staff, Kate and Carol, Michelle, Tony. I mean, they pour it into us. They really express how important it is that we have that culture. And then I also think our upperclassmen show it in the way that they act. They treat each other and treat us when we come in.
You mentioned in the previous question that I wish you guys could see behind the scenes. Well, tell us a little bit about behind the scenes. Maybe is there a fun story from this past weekend, or even maybe behind the scenes on one player? What are they like that nobody would expect when turning on the TV and watching them play softball?
Hmm. Let's see.
You're like, who could I have a list full of people, but
I
which
know.
one
I'm like,
could I talk
who
about?
could I call out? Um, I would say Ashley Miller. So obviously my first season with her, um, and I remember one of the what game was it? I forget what game it was. It was a really competitive game. And we like go into the circle, we're about to go, and she's like, let's effing go. Like you just see this like her whole face change and she's like this dog. Like, I mean, I feel like she seems pretty calm and
Yep.
collected on the field, and you're like, oh, she's just very unfazed and very locked in. And she's just so sweet. She's so sweet. And I feel like you can see that with like interviews with her or just talking to her. And then like you're in the dugout with her and she's like, she just has this like dog in her. And it's really funny, and it makes it a lot of fun to play behind her. And I have a lot of confidence in her because of it. But it's fun to watch and see.
Sometimes when people are so, competitive on the field, they can be off the field as well. You mentioned Hunger Games too. I'm sure even when your team tries to play games that it can become competitive for you guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We have we have a lot of competitors on the team. I think it's pretty obvious. I would say the biggest competitor, probably Hannah Katie. Hannah Katie does not like to lose. But yeah, we like to compete. We like to compete.
It's what makes her a great player. And you must have been competing. We're going to throw it out there in case anyone is, not listening to this, but watching it. You are also giving, lip plumper advice over here. Was that coming from a little competition, or how did that happen? I know it happened before Sunday's game.
Yeah, so basically during warm-ups, we were just taking ground balls, and Sharon Drysdale Field can be pretty tough at times. We love her, but it took a bad hop and got me in the mouth before game one on Sunday. But yeah, she left me looking real pretty.
Real pretty. I think my favorite part about, playing at Northwestern was how the players would talk to Sharon, the field, be like, Sharon, I really hope you're on our side today. Or if a bad hop would come up, he'd be like, please give that to the other team.
Like, please.
We
I
love
was,
you, Sharon.
we were joking. I was like, well, Sharon did this to me before the game. Maybe that was like my hits or my successes this weekend. She was giving it back to me and apologizing. But
I
yeah,
love
we love Sharon. We do talk to her. But yeah.
there any other fun you feel like game day rituals or things that your team does that sets you apart?
Um, I don't know. I'm trying to like think of some cool things that we do before games. Um, our music is top tier. We take a lot of pride in our music. It sets the tone for warm-ups. I think that's a big thing. Before stretching, we do a round of like some of us will play football to get the fun in there to like calm the nerves.
And who
Um,
has the best arms? Who can catch it well? Like, who would you put on Northwestern's football team?
who would I put on the team? Hannah Katie, great arm.
I
Angela
mean,
Zita,
competitor, the good football player.
yeah. Angela Zidak, Boyd. Boyd is really good as well. We got to throw Cap in there, our strength coach. She always throws the ball with us too. Yeah, I would put them on the team.
I think one day you guys just need to not practice softball and just play a football game and see who wins.
I know, no, we should for I always joke or like I always say like let's go play basketball because I mean we have the basketball courts right next to our indoor facility, and I think it'd be cool to see us in like a 3-on-3 tournament.
I love that. Your team is somebody that you can just tell from, you talking about them. You guys love the game, but you also love time outside of it. What would you say is the most special part about being on Northwestern softball?
Mm. I think just how we love and care for each other. I mean, we treat each other like family, um, and it really shows. I mean, we love each other through thick and thin. We're there for each other, um, and that's something that I'm really grateful for, and I'm so happy that I chose this place.
This is your second year. You guys have a lot more this season, but when you kind of look big picture, what is the biggest thing that you want to do during your time at Northwestern?
I mean, I want a natty. I mean,
As you
that's the
should, as
end
you
goal.
should.
That is the end goal. Obviously, I want the natty, um, and of course Big Ten as well. But the biggest thing is definitely that natty.
Well, Kansas, thank you so much for coming on this week's edition of Sydney Spin Big Ten. Good luck this weekend at Ohio State, but throughout the entire season and the rest of your career. We at Supple America are definitely rooting for you and the rest of the Big Ten for a fun conference season.
Well, thank you so much, Sid. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And that'll do it. Stay tuned for next week on Big Ten Edition on Sydney Spin. And we will have plenty more updates after week 2 and another special guest. As always, have a great week of softball, everyone.